Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me do this real quick. Put myself in the middle because I'm the hot spot of for yesterday. So, welcome to another edition to another summer of hashtag Fade to Black on this postponed special night. I am your host, Donnell Lamonte Morris, here with the Near Joe, aka Teach, here with Beast Johnson. How y'all doing?
Fine. How are you this evening?
I'm doing much better than yesterday. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have our Monday show, but we didn't do it due to things that's happened on my end, which I don't want to go deep in depth into. But I'm happy that it's over, that it's done. No, nobody's holding me for ransom, I promise. But we're here. This is a very touchy subject, but guess what? We're here to talk about it and come to solutions. But y'all already know what it is. It is the opening statements. Teach, you will lead the way. But before we do that, we got to introduce our sponsor for the first half. And I'm going to let Beast Johnson go ahead and take that away.
Well, the first half of this illustrious show will be brought to you by our sponsors at Sky Zone Society. Your home for visual effects, visual appeal, and all the fashionable apparel that your heart can desire. That's Sky Zone Society. For you, by you.
There you go.
You know
it. All right, Chief, let's go ahead and get your opening statements.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My opening statement, you know, many of us have Facebook accounts, Twitter, and so forth and so on. And we can be drowned in so much negativity. And I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Kimberly Purdue Sims. She had an extra specially positive post this morning, and it inspired me that despite the fact that we're living in a pandemic, that many of us are unemployed, that many of us are sick and dying, or we just buried a loved one, a friend, a neighbor, a co-worker. So many people are getting the virus, and it's easy. And it's wintertime and the sun is not shining. So it's easy to fall into a depression. It's easy to get swept up into that negative current. And not even to add the biggest layer of what's happening in our political scene. So my opening statement today is, despite all the negativity that's in your life, that's around your life, if you are alive, that's one positive thing that you can be thankful for, and build that positivity and share that positivity with everyone else. Because sometimes you don't know what the next person is going, but sometimes if you can just have that smile, not just on your face, but that smile that's in your heart, it can light the way for the next person or those that come in contact with you. And that's what Kimberly did for me this morning, scrolling through my Facebook, all the negativity, and I just had that one strong positive post. So be positive, even when it seems like there's nothing to be positive about. Just be positive. And that's my opening statement.
Thank you, Cheech. My opening statement is Black people, each and every one of you. This is the best time right now to be writing our agenda. Okay, what happened at the Capitol? We get it. We got it. Live, y'all sitting there saying, well, it don't have nothing to do with me, which is true. It is correct. We should not even be investing our energy to what happened at the Capitol. It happened. But this is the time. This is the time where you write down all the things that are going on in your community, not just the problems. Now, when you ask for something, you have to write how to get it and what should happen for you to get it. This is the best time right now. Get away from all the people in the Black Conscious Movement. I'm letting y'all know, get away from them, because they have not done anything to improve your life. If you're still going through the same issues from yesterday or from the same time right here last year or 3 years ago, they haven't done that much. You want to know why? Because you sat down and you just moped and complained just like everybody else. This is the best time for you to actually put down what's been going on. Actually put down how to make things a lot better. To hound your politicians to be like whoever it is. It could be Democrat, it could be Republican. Who cares? It could be the same person, it could be a new person. This is the best time for you to be like, okay, new year, fix this. And if you don't fix it, we're going to vote your ass out. Ladies and gentlemen, voting do work. No matter what anybody says. Because if you don't vote, guess what? You have no say. A closed mouth don't get fed. When you don't like what is being served, if you don't like Salisbury steak, that's fine. You don't have to eat it. But guess what? While everybody else choosing what they want to eat, you can't choose nothing. Because they're going to remember, oh, did you eat that Salisbury steak? Oh, here you go. You're going to continue getting the same thing. So a lot of y'all sitting there coming at the Biden and Harris ticket. They didn't even get in office yet, and y'all blame them for all the stuff that's going on or the things they're not going to do. And they're not even in office yet. What y'all should be doing is writing down the things that y'all need to happen. All the things that was not happening under the old administration or the administration before that, this is the best time. So if you're not doing that, and a couple days later you sitting there complaining or complaining after they get sworn in, I don't want to hear shit. Excuse my language. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear not one thing. Oh, they're not doing anything. Because one thing I'm going to ask you, what did you do? Did you let your local politicians know what issues you were having with the solutions? Or you just sat there? Choice is yours. This is the best time to take advantage, ladies and gentlemen, mainly my black folk. Take advantage. Take advantage.
Well, since he speaks on taking advantage, kind of flows into my opening statement, which is I go back to earlier. We're not just controlling the narrative. Moving forward, we're building our own industries. In order to establish that balanced power that Seepway speaks of, to counteract the obvious white power that is perceived throughout the nation, we must create our own industries. I love the fact that after having the gentleman last week on my show, another fellow classmate of ours came to me and said, hey, I know you draw. I need you to do a design for me real quick. I'm about to throw my hat in the game as well. I saw your show, man. I really love what y'all doing, and I see what y'all trying to get in, man. It really inspired me. And that statement alone made me feel like all the tired, weary energy and times that I've had throughout the course of these last 2 years is well worth it. Because I put my energy and my spirit into not just building a product or building a platform, but building my own industry that facilitates the needs of not just myself, but everyone involved. And everyone involved collaborates and works with each other, thus increasing and strengthening that industry to where other industries have no other choice but to respect us and work with us. And I hope these words inspire you as well. I hope the show inspires you. And I hope you receive and reciprocate the energy that we're putting out here to not just Black folk, but to all people of color. Go out here and get it. The only way you're going to get fed is if you let somebody know you hungry. Even if ain't nobody there, you still got to profess it. And I'll leave that as my opening statement. Let's enjoy the show.
Hey, how's everybody doing this evening? Thanks for letting me join the show again. My opening statement goes along the lines of what we talked about last time, with the state of where we're at in America, where we've had all this struggle all along, and sometimes we still look back and we're still in similar grounds. And at this point, I just really want to emphasize on all African American organizations that might have been dealing with politics in the past or the ones that have not. It would behoove us to get together and collectively have some sort of consortium in the sense of policies that we want passed for our community, for safer, for to keep our community safer and more prosperous, especially economical development areas, because I think that's where we are being hit the most. If we have enough income in your household, most likely you're gonna be educated. Most likely your children are gonna be educated. If you have enough income, most likely you will travel. Most likely you will be open-minded. Most likely you will have more peace within. And income does a lot to people. When you're troubled with so many things, income makes things easier. So when we talk about wealth, generational wealth that we want to build, we talk about it, but we have not been able to get everybody to be at the table enough to make out the ones who know the talented tenth, like W.D. Du Bois had talked about, and others who knows. We've not been able to get them to be unselfish enough to put themselves together and make the sacrifice of time and effort to sit down and try to make sure that we teach the ones who do not know how to fish, opposed to handing us fishes. And with all the equity, political equity that we have put in the camp of the Democratic Party in this past election, in particular Democratic Party, because that's what we've done that too since the '60s. I will speak in the voice of Malcolm X, in the Ballad of the Bullet, and talk about making sure that we then now make sure we get our equity of worth within the next 2 years. The idea of chasing Trump around or finding the most funny shade to throw at him on social media, or whatever people want to say on TV to get back at him. This is not the time. He's gone. Is not past. Hopefully, and I think he is not past. His supporters, let them do what they want to do, because now they got to deal with the FBI and all that kind of stuff. Our attention should be on making sure that 2 years is not going to go by like it went by in 2008 to 2010, and come 2022, where there should be nothing that we want, that we feel like we should have as an aid from our government that we don't have by 2022. If we do find something at the end of 2022, when the House and Senate might change due to election, and things might move around again like it did in 2010 when Obama had the House and the Senate and the presidency, and we didn't really get much out of it, then it is our fault this time. We cannot say we've not seen it happen in 2008 and 2010 before, we didn't relax. Well, maybe we did relax, but when we relaxed and we did not put enough pressure on our then party, our president, and we allowed the time to get by, and the House got shaken, and we lost when I mean the Democrats lost the leadership in the House. So since this is the party that majority of us has claimed, and we have put a lot of political equity into getting the presidency and the House, especially the Georgia seat, it would be a shame to us in 2022, if we have not been able to say that we got everything that we want, with a president that talks every day like he's a black man, at least that's what he talks like, and with a black vice president, this is the time to make sure we make them put the money where their mouth is, put their policy where their mouth is. Money going to our communities, economical development opportunities, startup should be getting more money, educational help in the sense of school loans to blacks, around the country. We need a black agenda. So I'm gonna try to wrap up. I know this guy.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about that.
I got you.
That. If we don't do it, then we have lost in a big way. And I say good evening to everybody.
All right, cool. So let's go and get into our main story. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are all here. Bale, thank you for joining the panel.
Yes.
This was going to be very not interesting, but something that should have been talked about a long, long time ago. We kind of talking about it, but it's mainly social media. So let's get into it. So the topic is, ladies and gentlemen, for everybody who just tuned in, is black men versus black women. It has always been power. I won't even say a power struggle. It's been more of, who deserved the most respect, who had done the most for our people, who has, who's been bad for our people. And I want to really start to home in on what are the solutions to where we start respecting each other much more. But first, let's go and address the issues and the problems. And the first one is, we actually kind of talked about it in the last week's show about the position in the household. As black men, we are very prideful in what we do and who we are. And so I want to start off with that. Floor is open.
Well, I'll start first, and I'll be very brief.
Mm-hmm.
Men versus women, black men versus black women. That is the first thing that needs to be healed, because you cannot have family without the man. You cannot have family without the woman. So it should be black man and black woman striving for healing. And I yield the floor.
I agree completely. As far as the issue of the household, that's more of one of those systemic issues. I'm as an '80s baby, a latchkey kid, we saw firsthand what that dynamic was and what it kind of did in the long run, and it set up a lot of misperceived notions and mentalities amongst females as well as males that caused this increased more intensity in the whole thing of black men versus black women. Because see, back in the day, it was more or less, all right, who took more hell? Once we got here, we were pretty much on equal footing in the grand scheme of things, but day to day, it was kind of the question, who was really the victim? Because as men, we're always supposed to be able to take more than the women. Just by, no matter your color, as a man, you're bred to be tougher, more durable than a female. So as far as the physical external impacts and trauma that will come to life, we as black men have always been perceived as being able to toughen it out versus black women. So the things that happen to black women kind of hold more precedence over what happens to black men. Because as a man, you're supposed to be able to take it anyway.
Ooh, boy, y'all trying to get people in trouble today. Anyways.
Hey, in the words of John Lewis, we getting in good trouble, right?
I hear you. John Lewis.
Oh, y'all can blame me. But Look, before you start, y'all can blame my whole life. Folk been blaming me for why they mad, so I hold that position. I'm still trying to find a legal way to get money off of it. If any of y'all know any black lawyers out there that could make me a legal, liable scapegoat, you pay me and I take the rap. Hey, that's all I'm saying. Just putting it out there. But go ahead, Mr. Mayo.
Yeah, I say I don't know if I just leave the good trouble alone because he mentioned John Lewis. But I leave that alone. But the thing about it is, this has like just every other topic that we talk about. It's a lot of complexity. You think about. I know my examples of issues today, and I really felt like the woman movement has hijacked somewhat of the black woman as well. And I might be wrong because this is what we do is to talk. And I go back to the Plato's Socrates' pie idea. The idea to be able to learn from each other and have an open mind in a dialogue, so we might be able to learn from each other. So I've always felt like when I have thought about American history or just Black history in general, I look at movements that were pushed by Black men and women in the 60s was for the Black family. You think about Rosa Parks, Dr. King, Malcolm X. You never heard them talking about, oh, I'm fighting for Black men. You never heard Rosa Parks saying, I sit for Black women. But I think somewhere along the way, a newer generation of women movement has made it where, oh, I'm fighting for Black women. As a woman, I see a lot of sisters that fight for Black women. And I'm sitting there like, we have enough issues together that who did it? Where did we get to the point where we're separating ourselves? And on the brighter side, I don't know use the word bright. On the better side of some of what we're talking about, I pay homage and admiration to the sisters that started the Black Lives Matter movement because they did that in the sense of the Black family. However, the Black Lives Matter organization, because I've attempted to start a chapter or activate a chapter in Columbus, and I was told because I'm a Black man, I could not lead the organization or start the organization because it was queer Black women that started it or something like that. Pretty much that, and I have to follow through that platform of the queer Black women that started it. So a lot of things that we are creating today, I think it's more of a generational thing that's breaking into a family structure where, some of our sisters now feel like I don't need no Black man. So if I don't, I don't want to go into my personal examples, but but they don't. I don't need no Black man. It's doing. Divorce rate is high. Folks are not, the Cardi B's of them are reigning. So yeah, not to say that, and I'm gonna end with this. Not to say that we don't recognize, at least the ones who have a good head on their shoulders of us Black men, don't recognize the torture that some Black women has taken from the way we were socialized to think that men had some kind of upper hand in the family. And some women have told me before that I want a man that can be the man in my household anyways. So it's not all Black women that feel like, oh, I could do this without a man. Some of them feel the other way too. So our culture today is somewhat convoluted with a lot of different beliefs, so and that's where it's so complex. So when we talk, it's kind of hard to generalize one way or the other, but the one that I see that's very much of a clear and present danger is the idea that I'm a Black woman, I could only fight for Black women, or not I could only, but that's what I'm focused on, is fighting for Black women, and I forget the Black family, like in the 60s or before that, like most of our fighters fought for Black families. So that's the one that I see that is more apparent.
And see, that also goes in line with my issue when it comes to Black women, because you got the Beyonce's, in the past, me and my girlfriend, we kind of go back and forth, but we do it comical, because she'd be like, well, Beyonce, she's the queen. And I had to remind her, I say, yeah, but look what label she's on. Look what all her music is being played off of. You know who started that and who runs that? Yeah. She talked to me the whole entire ride. She didn't even want to hold my hand. That's how much she loved Beyonce. Now, I'm not saying I'm not a big Jay-Z fan, but I respect Jay-Z. I like some of his songs, mainly his old school. But we live in a time where it's like now the man ain't basically ish, you know, because now they
Well,
will relate us to Future. But then you got dudes out there, like I literally had one of my bell buddies, you know, laser I lingo a friend.
like Russell, since you said
Yeah,
Future, you got they treating us like Future when most of us is out here like Russell.
yep. And the funny thing is, when I forgot my point, my chain of thought what I was saying, but you got Future, but then you got people like my bell buddy once again. Now I got my thought back, who literally said, because I told him, I said, why do you do this to these young ladies? Why do you every year you with them, and at the end of every year you break up with them, and then next year you get with a new one? He said, I just paint that perfect picture. Whatever they want, I paint it. It could be a stick figure, it could be a work of art, but I'm painting what they want, and I'm showing them what they want to see. And once I give them what they want, well, once I get what I want, I'm out. And so at the same time, it is responsibility on our end on how we treat our women. But then at the same time, when our women sitting there saying, well, you need me for this family to get to be together. I'm the one that when the baby comes out, I'm go through all the work. And granted, hell yeah. I mean, I give them the strength, I give them the power. Hopefully that Tish don't come through the camera and be like, what are you trying to say, Morris? So so what, but also it is us that also plant that seed too as well. And that when that gets forgot about, that does show a little bit of neglect to us as black men to basically like, hey, look, we played a part in this too. But then the contrary is when you got a lot of them going out there impregnating these girls, definitely with them with promising futures who keep their heads in the books, but you're the first one that they actually like, oh my gosh, you wonderful, you beautiful, do, and then you do this to her. Now she's a hoe, she's a slut, she can't keep her legs open for anything. Look, this is her third baby. And so it's responsibility that needs to go on both sides. But I saw, Mayo, you had your hand up first, and then I'm gonna let Beast talk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I wanted just to throw a rebuttal, like a little pushback, and I do that a lot for the folks when
Yeah,
I
you
say
go ahead.
you can say anything. I hear want something little. I'm like, I got to get a note on that one. But
Yeah, I got you.
so there's something that I think that and I don't know where I've been able to get it from. I would think it's been. This is where I try not to dive deep into my how my upbringing, whatever. But I think that I don't know too many men who feels this way, and I feel strongly about it. And it bothers me when I hear brothers talk about women are more caring about kids when they have them, or maybe like there's a woman's role to after the childbirth or whatever. Like we give them, we relinquish the parenthood to them, not even with that because we think there's something joyful about that. I love the idea of being able to have kids. I believe that the one child I had that passed away. That I can't wait to have the next. That I can't wait to have him, the spirit return to my life. I love the fact that one day I'll be a father of a young boy. Hopefully that I can train, and maybe a young girl. But I mean, I want to be able to train another one of me. This is the only thing that keeps me immortal. We're mortal beings. When I pass someday, my blood will become now somebody that will be able to live longer than I've lived, and will be able to carry on teachings that I've taught them. Hopefully, we'll be able to, carry on family traditions. That's the only way that we can live forever. Why would I not cherish that seed? So I don't know what makes me have that mindset. I have some guesses why, but I don't want to dive into that right now. Why? And the average brother does not think that way, but we've accepted the role that we cannot be as good parent as much as a sister. So that is one thing that I think that when I hear, I try to dive in like no, like I would take 50-50 if I don't get 51 in the sense of being a better parent, being a better nurturer, being a better everything else. I mean, I ain't got I can't breastfeed a child, but thank God they got bottles. I mean, I
got
would do
similar.
all I can. I would, I would do all I can to make sure that child does not feel like they missed one day of love in their life. And I'm a man, you know, in every kind of way, but I think that's part of manhood. So I want to just leave on that. Now, that's the one thing I wanted to jump in when he said, no, like, we give them the fact that yes, you know, after they're born, they take care of the children. No, it's not a natural thing. It's not like we've been told. I don't believe it is. I think it's a social thing that we've socialized ourselves to tell ourselves that, oh, only women can take care of a child like the way they do. No, a man can show a child love in different ways too. That will probably be matched. That will match what the woman has. That's just my own personal belief. And you know, until I find something better that makes me think different, I'll die with that mindset.
Okay, go ahead, Beast, and teach.
First off, my condolences, Brother Mayo, on the child.
2011, it happened a long time. I appreciate it though. I do.
Nope. Nonetheless, my condolences. To your point on why men versus women feel this way when it comes to in the aspect of children, it boils down to a personal acknowledgement and understanding and honesty amongst the parties. I myself, Lord willing, end of this month, I'll be 37. I've yet to have a child. I'm the only one in my family, in my generation, that doesn't have a child yet. And everybody asks me, like, why you ain't had a kid yet? I tell you that God ain't shuffled that card into my hand. My mentality personally is that I'm more of the family type. Regardless of the situation, co-parent or whatever, that child gonna have my last name because I'm gonna be in that child's life. I don't give a damn how you feel about me or your mama or anybody else. You and me ain't got to be 100%. You and me ain't got to like each other. Mm-hmm. I'm cool if that's how it goes. That's how it go. But there's a child here, so I'm gonna be there. But I'm honest enough with myself to express that to the females, especially when they ask me the question like, "Well, what will happen if I get pregnant?" I'm gonna ask you the question, "What you want to do?"
Right.
Either I'm taking you to we're going to one or two clinics. Either I'm taking you to a clinic to get rid of it, or going to a clinic to figure out what kind of clothes we need to get. At the end of the day, I can't force you to do anything. It's on you, and I just got to roll with it either way. So if you say you want to do it, then I'm going to be a daddy. If you say not, then okay. How much you need on it? Or what you need from me? That's pretty much where I'm at on that. What you need of me. At the end of the day, it's on you. The bigger picture boils down to the 80s. That's my point. The dynamic and the whole difference and discrepancies boils down to the 80s because you had the crack epidemic or the high drug rates corresponding with the high incarceration rates, which led to a vast access and overflood of social services. Balance that with the music and culture of the 80s. You have this mentality and psychology that has bred the Black woman to, in spite of everything, you are still strong. Yes, you can survive. You can survive without a man. The government will help you. And the government puts in certain stipulations that even if you are in a good situation with a Black man and you want that Black family, but that Black man might have got caught up, but he come home trying to do right because he done got caught up. The government says they'll take that money they've been giving you that you already got comfortable with. You've balanced it into your budget, into your life, so you functionally can't see how you can survive without that money. And now this man comes in, even though he's been your love, that's what it is. The government instead, if he lives here and we find him, we kick all y'all out. So now you're putting the children's, the family, the money at risk over love and emotions. And you gotta be logical. Love and emotions go out the window. And over time, you start to see that, and brothers don't respond correctly. They don't try to maneuver. A lot of them, they knee-jerk impulse with their emotions and move forward. And most men, once we say something or do something, we take it on the chin, good or bad. However, we can be drunk, we can be sober. We said it. All right, we gotta own up to it. We got to roll. If I got drunk and said, Donnell, I'll whoop your black ass, and Donnell pull up in my house and I'm sober, I said it. I know Donnell about to lump me the hell up, but all right, give me a second. Let me put my boots on.
Lucky to get a second. But yeah, you're right. You got a good point, Beats. That's a good point. Cheech, going ahead.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask you all to be patient because I'm gonna take my time.
You were patient with us. Yeah. It's only right.
Woo, I knew it's coming. That's why I said y'all gonna start something. I knew it was coming.
Hold on. Yeah, I still got some drink.
To Mayo, condolences. I don't know if you even remember, but your son was born the same day as my grandson.
Oh wow!
November the 19th.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're so good. Absolutely. Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, and every time,
that's cosmic right there.
From time to time, I look at my grandson and I think about your son, and I think about the emptiness that most likely is in your heart because of that. But God is going to bless you. He's going to come.
Amen. Thank you.
You all brought up several different topics, several different issues. And I want to start by saying, first and foremost, the energy between the Black man and the Black woman is out of balance.
Agreed. Complete.
Okay? It's 100% out of balance. And so when the scales are not balanced, we have what we're looking at today. Now, it just didn't happen overnight. It just did not happen because of one event. It happened over a course of several decades and several exterior influences. You all talked about the strong Black woman. I don't need a man. That's not a statement of posterity. That's a statement of survival. Not so much that I don't need a man. It's just that my grandmother has not had a man. My mother has not had a man. And I, from the looks of things, because so many men have turned gay now, don't look like I'm going to have one either. It's a statement of disappointment that when I look down my generations, you see the woman and her children. And it gives in to that thought and idea of that Monahan Report. The Monahan Report was the first report that was published by the United States government right after, I think it was 8 months of the Civil Rights Bill in 1964. And what that report said was, that report projected or prophesied the future of the Black family. It said that the Black man was going to be absent. And because the Black man would be absent, the Black woman would be left to raise the children alone. And the children that she raises up in poverty will be morally abject. They will all be given to drugs. They will all be given to poverty. And there's no good thing that can come out of the Black woman who finds herself alone. Now, I do want to go a little personal and talk about the Black family, my Black family. My first husband, we got married when I was 21 years old. When we met, he said, I want a child. And I said, we can enter into marriage and I can give you as many children as you like. So we got married and we had 2 children. Well, we had 3 and one didn't make it. So I gave that as an example of negotiation of a relationship. And my heart go out to you, Beast, when you say, when a girl says she's pregnant, you want to know what she want to do. It should be, if you are dealing with that person, you have to ask yourself, why are you here? What is your purpose?
Agreed.
What if we create a family, because we man and woman, if we create a family, then there's a big question mark when the spark of life comes forth.
Agree, because
as Black men and women, we have to be more responsible with our lives and what we do with them. And Donnell, you described the perfect player, the perfect pimp. That person loves control because they are out of control. They lack self-control. So they like to control externally people and things outside of them. Deep down, that person lacks self-esteem. But they build the persona, oh, all these women after me, or everybody want a piece of me. I'm so valuable. But all you do is create train wrecks. All you do is destroy other people's lives, making those women that he come in contact with damaged goods. Then the next man don't want to deal with her because she's so hurt. But she have to go through her hurt, have hope for the next one, and a baby come between here and there. We have to take stock of who and what we are. We are no longer breeders for the master to just have babies just because. Not saying to get rid of anything, but I'm saying enter into a true and real life relationship, not just something to go along to get along, or I hang with you until I find my boo. Or I find the next big booty that look a little bit better than yours, or got a little bit more in her purse than yours, or I don't know, she pray a little bit more, or she have less mouth. Whatever your criteria is, you have to be self-actualized as a man and have a vision. I'll tell you something else about my first husband. He had a vision for who he was, who I would be in his life, and he poured that vision into me concerning how his children should be raised. At the time we got married, I was working in one of the biggest banks in the US at that time. And he said, no, I want you to quit your job and come home. And I'm like, He said, I make enough money to take care of you and these kids. And I see no reason why my children should go to daycare when they have a mother. And the only thing I can say is yes and amen. Another thing he did, he said, I never have to eat chicken within 14 days of each other. There's other kind of meats out there. He always said, I make enough money, which he did. I want you to be creative in the kitchen. So I went out and learned how to cook deer. I learned how to cook rabbit. I learned how to cook a lot of other things that was not part of my cooking repertoire. Now, if anybody ever tastes any of my meat, they know I can handle some meat. Okay? I can handle some meat. If it got 4 legs, I can grill them, saute them, cut some onions up on them, some potatoes and carrots, and good God, some gravy, you got a good meal. So he instilled in me what he wanted in a wife.
Right about now.
And I was willing to be his partner where that was not a problem, that was not an issue. Anything I wanted, he gave me. He did not withhold not one thing from me. Now, for current day, men not cut like that. Men not made like that. I took care of all the finances. Man went to work. I held all of the money, every dime of it. But man, the day if he worked, he like, here, baby, here's $10. Can you make it on that? And she slapped him upside his head and got mouth and do everything because he not bringing his A game. He's not bringing the A game. He's bringing the BS game and think he's a king. And that's where you have a problem. So the energy of the male has turned feminine. The energy of the female has turned masculine. And even amongst my peers, women my age, we tell each other, put your balls back in your pants. Because we recognize that. Another thing, my husband was a one-spoken man, which meant that he only said things one time. So you had to lean in and listen and hope you heard what he said, because if you missed it, you missed it. And that was not good. But anyway, one time we got into the argument, and me being the strong Black woman that I was, or thought I was, I got to yelling and the screaming. And he said, Anita, I am not raising my voice at you. He said, so why are you raising your voice at me? I immediately shut up and learned how to communicate with my husband. I learned how to talk to him. So what I'm saying is, all the examples that I'm giving you is how that man has a vision and how he puts it into the life of his female. And just like the way you get life, that female receives what that man has to offer. Now, if the man only has bullshit to offer, that's the only thing the relationship is going to be. The men are the creators. The weight and the onus is on the man. Whatever he creates, that is what he is going to have. If he go into the relationship with bullshit, guess what? By a miracle, it's not going to be a good relationship. It's just going to be a relationship filled with bullshit.
Dang. Teach is bringing in all the receipts today. Good grief. That's what I'm talking about. She's coming in with the fire, coming in hot.
No, I gotta pat my head on this.
That's not to let the woman off the hook.
Right.
The woman.
Go ahead and finish.
The woman has to come with her A game as well. If she wants a good man, one, she had to pull back the scales off her eyes and recognize a good man. Some women don't know what a good man is. I feel sorry for my granddaughter's generation. I feel sorry for them because they don't get it. They do not get it. They think they don't have to cook. They don't have to clean. They don't have to do nothing. Well, what does he want you for?
Well,
what does he want you for?
Speaking of that, since we're on top of the hour, Teach, you got something that you want to tell everybody before we go into the other part of the this topic. You got an event that you want people to donate to. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor for a little bit to go ahead and explain it while I pop it up on the big screen.
Okay. All right. as some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am the executive director of the African Roots and Heritage Foundation. And what that foundation is organized to do is to share culture. We share culture between the diaspora and the continent. And in March of 2020, I have been invited to Cameroon. And during that particular festival, I will be speaking 3 times. And also for our day of community service and works, I have been asked to make a contribution to the Basso Iseka Secondary School. So what I'm doing is asking for donations so that we may provide internet for this school that's in a very rural area. So we're providing internet and tablets for these students to be able to get connected to the global world and continue their education. And I'm asking that if each and every one of you can give a donation, be it $5, $15, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, whatever you want to donate, feel free to donate to the African Roots and Heritage Foundation. And I started this fundraiser today on Facebook just a few hours ago, and many people are already chiming in. And we thank each and every one of you for our support. And if you can scroll down a little bit, Donnell, to the picture at the top of the page. Okay, that picture is me when I was in Tanzania, and we were at an orphanage. And at that particular orphanage, we were able to give 100,000 shillings to that orphanage as a bid of goodwill. As you may see, there's a little baby in my arms. That baby was 3 months old, and that baby, her name was Hawa, and she stole my heart. So much so that I inquired about actually adopting her, because I cannot imagine, we're talking about family today, I cannot imagine being 3 months old, being raised in an orphanage. So I prayed a prayer of protection over her, that wherever her life takes her, that she shall indeed overcome all obstacles and be the best person in her life. That really touched me, that really moved me. And so when we go to these foreign countries, we do like to bring something to brighten the lives of the people that we encounter. So that was Tanzania. In March, we're going to Cameroon, to the Basso Iseka village of Cameroon. And we're going to the Bosco Iseka Secondary School. So the students will be a little older, but I do believe they need to know that they are loved and they are cared for. And if we can't care for our own or care for ourselves, who's going to care for us? So I'm asking you to reach deep into your pockets and help me help them through the African Roots and Heritage Foundation. And then also, I put a link, Donnell, if you could post the link, run it on the screen, that would be good. That donations can be taken through PayPal. Okay. So.
Sorry about that, Teach. I'm actually right now, currently.
Okay. All right. So I thank you for listening and tuning in. And if you can, go by and like my page. It is linked to my African Roots and Heritage Study Travel page. It is African Roots and Heritage Study Travels is a subsidiary of the African Roots and Heritage Foundation.
And ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, is strolling at the bottom. Let me add everybody else up in there. So the goal is 1,000, and I'm just gonna let you know, Tisha, I'm going here and I'm gonna donate to it as well, just to let you know you guys support each other in our endeavors and also in whatever we do. So you already got my support. So
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes.
So why are we going to the second part of the show? Go ahead, Tisha.
I want to say one more thing, and I want to say something to Beast. I don't know how this happened, but when I press submit, I press submit to submit this oh my God, I can't even think, to submit this ad, and you instantly shared it. I still have my finger on the submit button. So that to me was a good sign. That was a good sign.
So once again, everybody, let's go ahead. Let's donate. Once again, let me put this on the big screen. Donate. Go to the Facebook page. Support Anita's fundraiser for African Roots and Heritage Foundation. Yes. Goal is 1,000. Right now they're at 885. So let's help them get to that goal. You know, how about this? How about surpass their goal? So I'm just putting that out there. Put that out there to existence, ladies and gentlemen. Go and donate, and PayPal as well will be strolling at the bottom on this half of the show. So, Teach, you can go ahead. You can make a cheap pop at any time you want to on this show, so people will know. But now, let's get back to our topic. This part is the solutions. So we already addressed the problems. So let's get to the solutions, and I'm gonna start with Mayo on this one. With all the things that we said, what is the solution to us, Black men, Black women, finally coming together, coexisting, and as well as moving forward to making it better for the next generation?
Well, first of all, anybody listening to this show today needs to remember, at least I know for myself for sure, and I can almost want to speak for everybody else, that we are playing the game of generalization there. You know, we are generalizing a little bit. I mean, it's not to say that some large quantity of people, that we know for sure are doing one or the other. You know, so at the end of the day, we kind of, bottom line is at the end of the day, we have to take people individual at a time. We have to try to teach people to not act upon what the past experience have been. I see a lot of sisters and brothers that come into relationship. I mean, I was battered somewhat from my last relationship. I choose to not speak that into the next one. When there's the next one. I mean, because it's hard to trust. At least for me, from a man's perspective, when that society has enabled you to not really care about trusting women or being so sensitive to people. You're supposed to be like the guy that's beating yourself in the chest and all that crap. And it's not supposed to trust. You're not supposed to be sentimental, trust, love, all that kind of stuff. And you find out you do, and a woman rips that out of you or so. And it's not the first time, but it's just like when it happens. So it's on to you to know that. Don't let that affect the next one. So that's another thing that happens a lot. We all carry our bag just from one place to another. So that's one. I think a lot of people hear that. It's hard to do. It's something you have to tell yourself every day and keep teaching yourself to not do it. We have to try to invest in education. Again, I believe that education and economic development does a lot. Where there's a lot of money, being able to do a lot, let's get good. Like my ex and I, we went on vacation. I mean, so now this is just personal a little bit, but I never, because I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur now, right? So I don't really buy much. I don't do much money. Everything goes right back to the business. When I met her, I told her I'm in an investing stage of my life. We are not gonna be, living the way that average. I'm not the stunner. I ain't gonna be having the rims or kind of, I'm just not that dude. Like everything I'm doing is going back into business so I can act on this empire. And I think that we actually attracted in some sort. We made the pact though that I was gonna pay myself, and the only way I was gonna pay myself is that we were gonna go on vacation at least once a quarter. So we did. So it was fun. I'm just saying in that sense. I say all that to say that, when money is there to be enough to be able to do stuff like that, enjoy the times when things that you're paid, nobody's arguing or whatever, then things are easier. So acknowledge that that we need to find a way to make sure we work, do our business right, whatever is economic development is important in our community. If you don't fix all those things, the infrastructure, you're gonna have trouble in other areas. So we live in America, a very capitalistic society. Their girls are telling them they're like, oh, look what my man is doing. Look what their man is picking up their girlfriends and them, and they look like, damn, that's somebody else's man. What is my guy doing? Not being able to offer that, whatever. It's a subconscious thing. I mean, I don't. Someone probably think about when it's in their minds, like, oh, my guy might not be up to par because this person is doing this. So we just got to keep that in mind. Like education, economic development in general, that will sprinkle out a lot more love. Then at the end of the day, we have to undo the stigmatization of Black people. That we've been stigmatized as much as we can. Black men at this, Black men at that. We talk Black women at this, Black women. I mean, I look at Cardi B, and a lot of young women want to be Cardi B. And I'm not talking about young in the sense of 20s or millennial. I'm talking about 30s, 40s, some 50s want to be next Cardi B. Look at me in the leaks or whatever, all that, it's real. And in their ways, I don't have the nerve or the right to tell her that she's wrong in the way she talks to Greg or how she lives her life. I don't have that right, but I just know that that's not going to be my woman. I just, so I can speak for myself. So again, it comes back to individualism in the sense of the relationship wise, but collectively, let's find a way to put money in people's pockets and be able to travel more and see how other people do things and just understand within your own agreement that we're going to try to be the best couple that we can be, and that helps that couple grow if they want to grow. So it has to be individual. You got to find out what works for y'all. Start your own culture within the relationship and make it work for y'all. That's the only thing I can give in the sense of a solution, because I think that what we're talking about is something that has different levels into it.
Right.
And it's hard.
Hey, it's a foundation. I mean, it's a foundation. We need something to build off on. I'm not saying what we're gonna put out there is gonna be the end all be all, but give the people the empowerment that here's a solution that you can use. But if you got something that you can offer on top of that, guess what? You got a foundation to build off on. So very, very great point. Go ahead, teach. Oh, by the way, $65 donation. Who can match me? I'm challenging.
Well, thank you.
Don't be putting Black folk on the spot.
Thank
you.
You
Can't be putting Black folk on the spot when it comes to money. That's some church shit right there.
I'm sorry.
See, you that visitor that ends up getting looked at funny at the end of the service. Because the spirit want to move you when you want to donate $100. Now the broke saints is looking like, nigga, I was gonna do 20 because I felt blessed. Now you just making me feel like I ain't doing nothing.
Well, you know something. I have on there from $5 to $500. Whatever you can give, I see it from your heart. From $5 to $500. I'm thankful for all of it. We women have to heal ourselves, and we have to recognize our own value, and we have to stop being desperate. And you men have to heal yourselves. You have to recognize your own value, and you have to stop being desperate. It all comes down to each individual working on themselves balancing out that male and female energy within them. And then when you come together, I don't know, and this may be a women thing. I feel that if a man is playing the field, just go get some prostitutes. Just go get some prostitutes, because guess what? You can pay them and they will not think about you. They will not be clingy to you. They won't be giving you any drama. You can call her once a week and she will be okay with that. Stop getting regular women who wants a relationship and you want to treat them like a prostitute and get mad at them because they catch feelings for you. And then to the women, recognize who you're dealing with. I tell all my daughters and younger women, if a man can tell a good joke, laugh. That may be all he has to offer. If he can tell a good joke, laugh and appreciate that. If a man can bring the sex, get it. Okay. If a man can provide, allow him to provide. But like my grandmother said, and I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I just described 3 different men. She said you need an ace, a deuce, and a tray in the hole, because you're not gonna find all you want in one man. And the room goes silent.
I love how you ended it on that, because it goes into the point that I was gonna make to go along with healing. Thank you for that.
Hope that's not true though. But I'll leave that alone.
It's a sad truth, but it's a sad truth. Here's the reason why it's a sad truth. It's a sad truth because it comes from a failure to acknowledge. We're not acknowledging the actual responsibilities and obligations of the labels that we want and the labels that we have currently. So as to move forward, we have to first acknowledge all our bullshit on both ends, acknowledge as well that there has to be a high level of adaptability on both parties in order to achieve the goal that both of y'all have set forth. And also acknowledge that the timing that you want may not necessarily be the timing that is destined for this path. So when we acknowledge these things, it's a lot easier for us to move down that path because of media and all other external stigmas and stimulants. A lot of women got that marriage. It's a wedding versus marriage dynamic with a lot of women, especially Black women. And Black women is more lines of a wedding versus a marriage. Because it used to be you want a marriage, and a marriage corresponded with these type of activities, these type of duties and responsibilities. So that's where you got your mind set forth. And that's where you like, all right, this is the type of husband I need to be. So these are the type of things I need to enhance myself in and make sure I'm skilled in and adept in order to make sure I get that type of wife I want, and on vice versa. But we start presenting more of the wedding and putting more focus on that one day where all the attention is on you. Everybody came to see you. They ain't give a damn about my ass sitting up there with the preacher. I don't get, just keep it real. When it comes to a wedding, who gets a standing ovation and a walk-in like they WWE champion? I'm just saying, the door opens, everybody stand up. You got music. All she need is pyro and a manager. Actually, she got a manager because most times they got that long trail. So you got somebody carrying the back trail of your. And look, and in place of pyro, you got little flower girls. It's all she needs is just a pose at the end Just be like, I did it, bitches. And the ring is the championship belt. That's a wedding. And that's what women see in their heads. And that's all women. And I've asked a lot of women. I asked my woman that. Because I'm more of a marriage. I want a marriage. I don't give a damn about a wedding. I'm on the tip of, I would rather you want that day to yourself? I told my woman straight up, I love you. I would rather go ahead and get us structured and get us settled. Get a house, everything that we need. Get the accounts, make sure that all the bills are taken care of. And when I want to trick off on my tech and games, I can trick off. And when you want to trick off on your fashion and your perfume, you can trick off. The bills are still taken care of. All our money good. Then yes, I will splurge 50, 70, 100,000 on that type of day for you. Yes. Because to me, that day will mean even more to you than what you have perceived it to be. Instead of it just being one day and then the rest of the marriage, y'all in debt over that one day. And y'all really didn't get a chance to really know each other and how y'all would deal with sometime a little bit of debt, let alone $75,000. 13 of them just for the dress that you only wore one time. You know, that type of stuff feeds into people's heads and causes tangents like this. But the point being, you see that type of mentality expressed on both ends. So we need to really understand what we're getting ourselves into. So if I'm moving forward as a Black man, I need to be honest with myself. If I'm currently at this moment not in the mindset of a family, but I'm open to the idea if that's what God will be. You know, if we're gonna be out here having fun in the condom break, or you tell me you want the IUD and the IUD don't work, then you know we already know. All right, we can move forward, and that path might actually lead both of us to the family and marriage that we both wanted. It just didn't go down the traditional path that we thought it should.
Right. So go ahead, Mayo. You had one more final solution.
Real quick, I just want to jump on in real quick with one small attempt at solution that I did not remember earlier, and I think it's one that I think bothers me a lot. Is that I believe that we forget about the fact that we were socialized to be who we are and how we think of man and woman, and for some reason, you know, like this is just me, you know, and I don't mind being different, you know, like is that I think there's a few things that I can feel like, you know, like this is what a man should be, this is what a woman should be. I think those things like the physical traits, like I know what I was born with. You know what you were born with. I mean, you know what you can do. I think a lot of things that we put into it, like, you know, this is what a man should be. So, and I hear more from sisters who don't have a man saying this is what a man should be like. And I see, you know, like even that enough. If you have those preconceived notions in your mind, you know, and we don't think about how much that even causes trouble. If you come into a relationship with preconceived notion, this is what he got to do, what he got to have. Is it like, you know, it's just what this is what we socialize most of the time, and you've not been across, you know, into the North African coast. You've not been into the, you know, Indian coast. You've not been to and see how men, the culture of men, you know, and just understand that, you know, what we know as men here doesn't mean that that's just what all men got to be. But we as women here, that don't mean that's what all women got to do. All women got to be. When you find that person that fits in with you, you better lock in with them and find a way to make each other better, you know. And it's just hard to really find that match. And I'm gonna end with this. I always tell people, since talking about men and women, I tell a lot of women that they get a conversation. Everybody settles. Nobody wants to think that they settle, but everybody settles. The question is, are you gonna settle on your own terms, or are you gonna let nature settle for you? Because it's either you pick, because no one ever gets exactly what they want. You can't draw anything and say, "Oh, I found the guy that I ended up marrying was exactly what I drew up before I married." The woman that I ended up marrying was exactly who. Nobody can say that they've ever found 100% no problem with somebody. It's just impossible. So at some point, we all settle. If what you want to do is make sure that you find the things that you know that are confident and important that you don't really want to settle on. Make sure that person has those fundamentals and those principles The rest of the ones that are not important, like the mundane ones, that's the one that you kind of have to settle on. Because you got to find out what you can settle, what you cannot settle on. We have to know that I'm going to settle when I find somebody who has such things, and if they don't have all these other things, I can settle on that. Because if you don't, every day that's going by, like as sure as it's going to be 11:59 tonight, when the clock strikes midnight, we've lost one day in our lives and we've let one day go. So, and that's one day that we feel the best love you could have felt in your life. Love is real. It's something that, when you feel like somebody wants you, somebody wants to be around you, somebody to do anything to make sure that you're happy. That stuff is real. But it's just so often disregarded in our generation, our era today, and we got to find a way to get it back. It's all about love. But I live on that.
Right. Teach, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I agree totally with what Mayo said, and definitely love the way Beast just drew the picture. We have to examine ourselves and know that we're giving our best. But there's one Bible scripture that says, don't give what's holy to the swine. And this is where we get hurt. We give our best to the worst person. And when the good person come by, we don't have anything else to give. And that's because we are not recognizing the value of that person. It goes back to, if they can make you laugh, that's all they can do. You cannot heap values on the person that they do not have. You have to recognize who that person is and how they are functioning in your life. That's it. You can't, if he a good laugh, just know he a good laugh. That's all. You can't say, oh, he's so romantic. I want him to be romantic, and no, you can't want this. He has to be that. And likewise, she has to be that.
Talk about it.
We cannot heap what we want in a person upon a person if they are not exhibiting those skills. We cannot heap that upon them, because all we're going to do is give away our love and make ourselves hurt. And that goes back to stop being desperate. If we stop being desperate, we will see, wow, only thing he really give me is a good laugh on Thursdays. So I'm going to recognize the other 6 days might be kind of sad, but I know on Thursday I'm going to get a good laugh. Recognize that value, that one or two values that person brings, and that's it. Don't say, oh, well, I think he's a real negotiator. He can't negotiate nothing.
Right.
Recognize, and that comes through self-development and self-actualization. I talked about my first husband. I'll say something about my second husband. Mayo knows my second husband. People have a lot of opinions about us, but the thing is, with him and I brought what I could from my first marriage, and that was talking and communicating. With my second husband, he's a businessman. We sit down and we plan different business ventures, and we accomplish each and every one of them. We set goals in our marriage, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. And I can tell you, we just celebrated our 14th wedding anniversary. We have never had an argument. Never. I never raised my voice at him. He's never raised his voice at me. Now, I may have mumbled some stuff under my breath. Huh?
As a legally defined licensed teacher, you can go make some money off that one statement alone. I've been married 14 as a black woman. As a black woman, you just said, profess to the heavens that after 14 years currently, continuously, You have yet to argue, let alone raise your voice. Now you may mumble something, but every spirit ain't pure.
But it was my
That
first
right there
husband.
is
I
worth.
told you. My
That's
first
right there
husband
is worth
shut
3
me
hours
up.
right there.
Go ahead, Teach.
My first husband shut me up. He taught me how a woman should be in her feminine essence to talk to him as that male. He taught me that. So I took that into my second marriage. Alongside with my husband, he's a very dominant male. But he's gentle. I mean, I call him the gentle giant. He's gentle. And my mother's like, oh, your man ain't strong. Yes, he is. But he's not abusive.
Right.
See, he's not abusive with me. He is gentle. He's gentle in his nature. But I tell you this, he means exactly what he says.
There you go.
He
That's
means
the
what he
psychology
says.
of it.
Yeah.
And so I've been blessed with two different men that I believe exemplify good men.
There you go, Teach.
Now, what Teach just said right there, when he's talking about like it's a psychology behind it. Going what you said about how to speak to him, and it's wording, and it's understanding that certain things can and will hit an ear wrong in any given situation. If you won't, if in an argument, even if you know he's wrong, the easiest way to get him to understand he's wrong is to just be calm and civil. Therefore, he don't have no knee-jerk reaction or reason to want to get loud. If he do, then he looks like an asshole.
Yeah.
Anybody that hears it, you're the dick. Like it don't matter what she did. She could have been justified. You're a dick. Why? Because you yelled and she did.
Mm-hmm. So
the
now,
psychology behind it.
so now, with that out the way, it's time to get to our brand new segments of the show. I had Teach. She wrote me. She said, "More. We need to change the show, change my segment name, and all that stuff, which it will be changed come the next show." So I think it's a perfect lead-in for Teach for her with her donations and all. So once again, down at the bottom. So let's go ahead and get into the segments. Teach, you are first up for grabs. But before you do that, I like to carry receipts. I want to show everybody that I wasn't, because my computer crashed on me. I want to show everybody. Batch me. You see it. I donated 65. See if anybody going to do it. Maybe do more than me. I got the receipt.
We live in an era of fact checking. So much stuff that you said, I mean, it's the good and the bad of it. Because think about back in the day, though, you couldn't get away with. You could say, I'm a donate," or "I donated already," anonymously. It's like, nah, nigga, we can go back and check now.
Yep.
What's your QR? What's your QR? Yep. Let me see a QR scan. What's the confirmation? I know they text your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump in with Teach's segment. Here we go.
Okay, African travels. Well, the correct name is African Roots and Study Travels. This was born out of a class that I created for the college, and it is called, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, I had to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Okay, it's gonna come back. Excuse me, I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry.
Bless you.
Barikiwa. That means bless you in Kiswahili. All right. So it's a history class, $2.99, independent study. The class was designed to take a student out of the classroom and into the world, going to actual sites that are known for the slave trade. And usually we would spend anywhere from 14 to 21 days in a particular country or multiple countries. The very first trip that we designed was in 2016, and we went to the country of Ghana, Togo, and Benin, looking at the slave trade and the patterns and looking into the people, the chiefs. We went to the Mashia Palace, and we also talked with the king, King Prempeh II, and talked about their role in the slave trade. We went to Elmina Castle, which is one of the more famous castles in Ghana on the Gold Coast that, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm having all these nasal issues right now, that many people do their Sankofa. You may have heard the word Sankofa, and I'm going to define it for you. Sankofa means to go back and pick up the gems of the past. And so doing, as Africans born in America, we go back to various ports in Africa to learn about our history, to reconnect with the motherland. Our ancestors are guiding us, and we are listening. We have an opportunity in this day and age to take a DNA test to uncover the most likely spots in geography on the land in Africa of where we may have come from. I myself have taken the DNA test, and 34% of my DNA comes from Cameroon. The next grouping is Angola and the Congo. So it's in me to want to go to these various countries and explore the various ethnicities so I can get a greater sense of the greatness of who I am. And these are the types of trips that we offer. We have a trip coming up March 8th through the 13th. I spoke about it earlier. It is in Cameroon. And one of the things after the festival, we are going to actually tour Cameroon and go to a site called Bimbia. Bimbia was discovered by our own Dr. Lisa Aubrey of Arizona State University. Her research led her to this site and uncovered it as one of the major sites that African Americans came through that port during the slave trade. This site was important because when you look into the history of the African in America, they say the date is 1619, and that is the American date or the United States date, but it seems like the world goes by that date. That is when the British entered into the slave trade. But the slave trade had been going on, and it originally started with the Portuguese in 1452. So it was in 1452 that the very first slaves were taken from Angola, from the Congo and Cameroon, and they were shipped throughout the Americas as well as the UK. So it's important for us as Africans in the diaspora to do your Sankofa, to go back and pick up the gems. And this is how this class was designed to give the student, the community, staff, anyone that desired to go and learn more about Africa, this opportunity while earning college credits. Cameroon has a very special place in my heart. And the reason why it does is because I am from there. And you know, I'm spiritual, and I say and feel a lot of things. But one thing when I was in the Cameroon the last, I realized something that I had been dreaming of, and it is this mountain. This one mountain. I had an apartment and I lived on the 3rd floor, and every morning I would go out and look at the mountain, and the mountain would just kind of beckon me each and every morning. And so I began to take a picture of it, because every day the mountain changed its personality, and you would have to look at the pictures to understand what I'm saying. And it was at that point that I realized this is the mountain that I've been dreaming of for years. I never knew where this mountain was, and all of my dreams, there's this mountain. And so I began to inquire with the locals, what was the name of the mountain? And the mountain was called Elodim. And it is a holy mountain, and they say that people go there when they want to connect with God, or they want to go on a retreat. So it's a holy place, a holy mountain. So I wonder, why would I be dreaming of this mountain, and only to find out that my DNA is right there in Cameroon? So I believe through these dreams that this has indicated my the greatest portion of my DNA from this particular region. And so for that, I celebrate. And I would like for Darnell, I sent you a short video entitled Ancestry, Roots and Ancestry. And I would like you to play that clip. Not that one, the other one. And just before that one comes on, I'm sorry, I got them mixed up. But I believe that the ancestors are speaking, and that we have to listen. And when you listen, the more you listen, the more you will hear, the more you are guided. I believe that when I was in Tanzania, the ancestors spoke. And I just want to share with you this short clip of this video that I made. Your ancestors are our first teachers. That's it. It's only 57 seconds long. But for me, it was very powerful. This is on the campus of Tasuba University. So let's look at it and tell me what you think.
It is said that the ancestors are always among us, and we find it true through the sculptures of art on the campus of Tasuba in Bagamoyo, Tanzania. The ancestors are always among us. Our ancestors were our first teachers. And as we come into this university, they continue to teach us. They continue to guide us. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you.
Okay. So when you walk onto the campus, you see all these little heads peeping through the bushes. There's some on the wall. They have an amphitheater, and they have these little statues around the amphitheater. And I began to say, what is this? And right when I said it, it's the ancestors. And once we left the campus and we were going about in this little village, there were more statues all around. So for me, this was the perfect visualization of what we have always said and what we always believe, that our ancestors are with us. And as we continue with this series, I'm going to show another clip where they have the first family. They have the man and the woman, and then the children around them. The old or elderly, the young, the handicapped, whatever type of physical body that was possible. They have statues in all of those various elements. So this is some of the cultural learnings and teachings that you can experience when we go back to Africa, when we go and do our Sankofa, just to pick up these types of gems and understand what it means to recognize our ancestors. And so now I want you to show the first clip, which was the root of ancestry. Okay, here it comes. And this is another clip that I made on the campus.
Every tree has roots, and the roots are said to run as tall as the length of the tree. Not only does the tree have roots, the tree also has branches. So what is at the root of the human tree? What are the branches of the human? In African traditions, the ancestors are given much respect. It is said that the ancestors paved the way. They were taught the culture, and they in turn teach us the living culture. And when they are finished with their job, then they shed their earthly body forms. But we are reminded of them. We are reminded of who they are and what they are. We are reminded each time that we look in the mirror, each time that we take a picture, each time that we birth forth the next generation, we are reminded that we are our ancestors, and our ancestors are us. So what does that mean, that our ancestors are us? Science answers that. Recognition, facial recognition, speech patterns, anomalies in the body recognize that, because as they give their generation their DNA, you in turn give their DNA to your offspring. So it is the cycle of life, that our ancestors are always with us. And what better way to memorialize them than to visually construct them at the root of the tree, at the root of the human form, on a campus of learning. They say it is our ancestors, our mothers, and our fathers who are our first teachers. Hi, I'm Professor Anita Jones, and I am here in Bagamoyo, Tanzania, for the 4th Annual Artisan Conference on the campus of TSUBA, which is an arts and culture school. And I'm sharing with you the beauty of the art, the beauty of culture, the beauty of our hidden core at this campus in Bagamoyo, Tanzania. Until next time, Kwaheri.
Okay, I would like to open up for any questions that Beast, Donnell, or Mayo may have.
That I'm assuming that was an academic campus, correct?
Say that again?
That was an academic campus
Yes.
in Tanzania.
Yes, it's TSUBA, which is an arts and culture university.
Okay.
Um,
That explains the designs on there, definitely. You about to say Donnell?
Yeah. My question teaches, what was the feeling walking by, those statues? Did you feel like a feeling of their presence?
They got your attention. It definitely gets your attention. Not like somebody watching over you or somebody lurking around, but it does get your attention as you walking down the main pathway and you see all these little heads sticking out the bushes. I have some other pictures where some were actually in the bush. And you think you're seeing things like, oh, that's a little statue, and they had them coming out of the wall.
It's an echo. It's an echo.
Is it mine? Okay.
All right.
I turned the volume down. Is that better?
It's better.
Okay. And so, like I said, it does get your attention. And I was drawn to it, and I actually took a whole bunch of pictures. And then as I was taking more pictures, then I realized that they had headstones all around the campus as well, with names of famous people, who had gone on, famous in their country. And then they even had other famous Blacks like Nelson Mandela and so forth and so on. So they're very cognizant in weaving the living with the dead. You can't have the living without the dead. It was totally in the process of the circle of life. And for me, I just loved it. I just loved it because I believe my ancestors speak to me, guide me, and give me dreams. So for me, it was a physical representation of what I had been feeling for so many years.
Anything, Mayo? You on mute.
Sorry about that. I said I love that presentation. As long as I've been knowing you, that's one of the things that I've been always excited to see you do, and can't wait to join you. Is that trip to the motherland? Part of my bucket list is to visit the 54 countries in Africa. I've only been to one, and there might even be more than 54 now because it seems like they're getting divided by the minute. But either way, just to see the African land more than I've ever seen before. As well as visiting all the continents. But for me, I guess my curiosity drives into my goal, my bucket list of visit those countries. What are the biggest challenges of being able to be from one country to another, and if there's any, and being able to. The other question will be being able to collect history. Is there a place that we have as Black people, even outside one that might be created by you and your course? Is there a place where we can find the gathering of Black African history, and the authentic part of the history.
Well, what I find from country to country, it varies. Most countries have archives. Most of the times I go to the slave ports. The slave ports have the archives. In Benin, for me, they had the biggest and the greatest archives, and that's when I purposed years ago, back in 1997, that I was going to learn Portuguese because they had these huge books, ledgers that were big as a 6-foot table, and they had written down the ship and the name of the person and the ethnic group that they belonged to or what ship they got on. So the information is there, and that's why I try to encourage people, go to Africa. You're going to find things that you're not going to find in America. You're going to find things that are actually more intact than they are in America. Outside of the archives or the slave ports, they have the museums where people may have taken their time and created a collection for you to browse through. Then historians, other college professors, I make it a point, whatever country I go to, I connect with the African Studies department of each university. These people are the walking, sitting libraries. They know how to point you in the direction to wherever it is that you want to go.
But there's no consolidation of this, though. We don't have a consolidation, or we don't have a collection of all that. Like all African countries have one, a place where you can go. I mean, like you said, country by country do, but we don't have one collective one, do we?
Well, they're building a museum now, but they're building one now. They have one, a huge library in Dakar. The African Renaissance. So they have an archive there, but I think it's unique for each country because each country experiences things different. Each country has different administrations. It's unique, and I wouldn't want to even see it all in one place because if you have it all in one place, it can be overwhelming. And you go in, well, where do I start?
Right.
But if you do it country by country, like if you go to Ouida in Benin, you're starting right there with those people. The people of the Oyo Empire, the Dinshra, the Broom people. You're starting with, one group or several groups of people actually, and you're working your way to get knowledge of those specific peoples.
Okay. All right. Beats, go ahead, get your point in, and then after that, we're going to jump into your segment.
Well, first, in lieu of time and to stay on subject, I'm going to relinquish my segment for this evening and just give my point. We can finish up with our closing statements. But the point I wanted to make, if anybody noticed between the two videos, is Black folk, our connection to Africa is deeper than slavery, and it's deeper than we truly realize. Because I'm pretty sure amongst ourselves, we look through those videos, we look through those faces, and subconsciously said to ourselves and started assessing all the faces we know. Like, I seen a face like that, or I know of a face like that, meaning I know someone that looks just like this ancestral statue. Only meaning that our connection goes beyond the amalgamated bloodlines of slavery. Our facial structures and similarities is not due to part of slavery. It is a point of pride of our African heritage and our true connection to the homeland. And I don't know if anybody else knows, maybe it's just me and this weed, but the tree and the roots, they very similar to my dreads. At the very bottom, like, only furthering my point that your connection is deeper than you realize.
True.
There you go.
Maybe it's just the weed got me a little high thought, but no, I just want to throw that out there.
Well, since you don't want to, since you don't want to do your 7
Yeah.
yet, or
No, not tonight.
next,
In lieu of time.
tomorrow night.
Mhm.
You guarantee, okay? Because we're gonna go back to back, ladies and gentlemen, because of me. So since Beast made that decision, I'm gonna vouch for it. We're gonna go right into the final thought, and I'm going to open it up for everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for participating, viewers. Thank you for putting out the points, and this went as good as I could have thought it would be. So I thought it would probably be a little bit going back and forth, and knowing that Anita's the only female on the show with us 3 men, but we all held our own. We all came to a compromise, so that's great. But once again,
more importantly, we all spoke from balanced points.
Yes,
even though it was outnumbered, so to speak. Even Teach herself spoke on points in favor and against Black men and Black women, and we all made sure that both sides were taken into account and accountability was taken.
So let this video continue on the conversations that you have in your household or amongst your homeboys or homegirls, with your wife and with your husband, or with your boyfriend and girlfriend, not with your side chicks, okay? You need to kick it to the curb anyway. But anyways, let's jump into the final thought, and I'm going to open it up. First of all, before I start my opening statements, I would like to shout out our sponsors, Wheelchair Boy Popcorn, and also Sky Zone Society for sponsoring this the show, both first half and second half. I want to thank both of them. Thank you so very, 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 very much. Now, my closing statements is, I think Teach said it right. Be positive. I listen. I need to get back to listen to a lot of affirmations and listening to a lot of gurus. But even your gurus, you see flaws. You see they're not the people that they turn out to be, and it can be so disappointing. Even in that, be positive. Make your own way. There's one picture that I seen on definitely in a lot of the entrepreneurial cartoons that I be seeing. I like this one where you got the herd following the shepherd. They're going one way, but then you got this sheep going another. And it's so symbolic for me because people are afraid. I think it's beyond the comfort zone. Of saying that comfort zone, get out your comfort zone, don't get too comfortable argument, because I don't see it as that. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. Why? Because we want to get out of this discomfort so we can get comfortable. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to work the 9 to 5, but you got to work hard so you don't have to worry about going to that 9 to 5. That now, rather than working a 9 to 5, you're giving people jobs. You have the comfort of doing that. Hopefully, you don't want to live a life of discomfort all your life. Because if you are working a 9 to 5, that's discomfort. That's not comfortable. That's not a comfort zone. Yes, you get a paycheck and all that stuff, but guess what? You're still pulling your hair out because you still got to pay all these bills. If you got all these kids that you got to take care of, or if you're the only one bringing home the bread, that's discomfort. If you got to save up a whole year just to go to Disney, ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call discomfort. Now, when you're comfortable, you don't have to worry about your kids getting their next meal. You don't have to worry about after taxes how much money I'm going to have left over for myself or money over for my kids. So even with all that, you have to stay and stick with being positive. People say being positive don't change things. Being negative changes a lot of things or make things stay the same. So I'm here to tell you, being positive changes everything. When you have somebody that is positive, that smiles even in the worst of times, and not using that old cliche, oh, somebody got worse than me. No. That they could just say, well, you know, today wasn't my day. That is contagious. And I met people like that. I could be having the most crappy of days. Sorry about that. Have the crappiest of days. And it would take that one super positive person be like, yo, boys, what's going on? And I try to say negative because it's like, it could be somebody coming at me. I say, I should have said this, should have said this. And they'd be like, look here, man. When that opportunity comes, I know you'll be ready. But right now, what's good to dwell about it? And they be right. Or with me doing this show, like my computer crashed during the show. That's why I was off for a while. My computer crashed. I could have just snapped and just be like, F it. But I didn't. I stuck with it. I remained calm, remained positive, and I'm back on. When you become positive, ladies and gentlemen, things change for your favor. Things start to happen for your favor. And don't feel bad and don't regret because nobody else can be as positive as you. And don't feel bad for all the luxuries and the freaking rewards you get for being positive. Don't regret, don't be mad. Definitely don't be mad. Stay positive, because being positive and thinking positive, believing positive, and looking positive, things will always go in your favor. And that I will yield the floor.
For my closing statement, just want to give a quick definition of a community. Most people think a community is residential, but the community is individuals with certain drives and passions and paths that correlate, correspond, and perpendicularly parallel with each other. Meaning, you have individuals like ourselves who all come from different facets, but due to the knowledge and passions that we have formed a community of enlightening and informing and educating the Black masses and actually getting everyone to truly understand and talk with each other. And that community has strengthened over the last year and included more scholars, more activists, more entrepreneurs, thus building and strengthening the community even more. For when we have issues or instances in our personal lives, we already know we have individuals that we can refer to or call upon. That's what happens in the community. So we need to understand that a community is more than just where you live at, where you might rest your head. It's a mindset that can surpass a lot of preconceived stereotypes and notions to build and produce something very beneficial to those involved. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Y'all be blessed and be safe.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I wanted to what I would like to finish on the note I would like to finish on is what I have as the bio on all my social media. And first of all, follow me on all the social media as Mayo McKinday, at Mayo McKinday on Instagram. I'm trying to get used to Instagram, at Mayo McKinday, and on Twitter is at Mayo #4 people. So that's Mayo #4 drawn out numerically, and the people. So And on Facebook, I'm Mayor McKinney, the only one really on there. You can best believe I've checked. The note that I want to end on is that same thing I have in my bio, which is 1 Corinthians 13. I think that I would like to think that I'm not the most religious person. However, very spiritual, very uh, much of a believer in the fact that there's that spirit that keeps us alive and going, and the greatest spirit of all is that love. It's something about love. I just think that and when I say love, I'm not talking about like well, there are different type of loves, but I'm not talking about just one type. I'm talking about loving people. I love life, loving to come out in the daytime and feel the fresh breath in the air. Loving just nature, loving the fact that I'm 6'2" on top of the ground and not 6'2" under the ground. Just loving the fact that you know, I know that I have enough within me to make a lot happen, to be productive today, to make first of all myself a happier man than I was when I woke up, my family, my community, and everybody else in the globe. That I have that within me, and another opportunity given to me to crack that code that keeps the happiness going. And it comes from within. It's something that's always around us. It's in us. You see somebody, please smile at them. I've never met a stranger in my life. And even when I've met some, I try. And it's not something that I try to do consciously. I think it's subconscious, and everything I'm saying that I'm doing, I'm hoping other people do it. In the community where you see each other and you can wish somebody the best and greet them with a smile. It does a lot. It's that spirit of love, and just wanting to make somebody else happy. So with that, that's what I leave you with today. To all the topics that we can talk about. If love is within it, trust me, something's gonna be right. Love is something that it's hard to miss. It's hard to fake it. I mean, it's a lot of people attempt it, and a lot of people have gotten away with faking it. But it's something that lasts that will last a long time. It's something that is the most powerful and the most potent is omnipresent. And like they say, God is love. I don't like to dive into the religious part of it, but again, it is that love that we're seeking. Even though we want to balance within balance, love is in within balance because you have tough love and you have the self love as well, and still love still lives. So that being said, I love you all and keep loving out there. Okay.
That's awesome. Balance. I think all things have to be in balance. And because of the society in which we live, the environment that we find ourselves, women are thrown out of balance, men are thrown out of balance, and it has been out of balance for so long, we think it's normal. So I call for a healing in the psyche, in the mind, in the spirit and soul of the Black family. I call for a healing of each and every individual. I call for a healing to reset ourselves, to come back to ourselves, to know ourselves, to love ourselves, identify ourselves, determine ourselves, build ourselves while discovering ourselves. It is up to us to fix us. We are broken. So let's heal and let's come back into balance, being the beautiful Black God and goddess we were created to be, to reign in this earthly realm. We are gods and goddesses having a human experience. Take that knowledge, savor it. And with that, good night. Healing of the mind, the psyche, the heart, the body, the spirit, and the soul, all that there is to the Black family.
Thank you, Teach, for that. Thank you, everybody, for your final thoughts. I just wanted to keep everybody after the show, but other than that, on behalf of everybody here, Anita Joe, Beach Johnson, and also special guest Mayo, and then your host, Tanella Monte Morris. Thank y'all for tuning to another edition, another installment of hashtag Fade to Black. We will see y'all tomorrow as well. And that topic for tomorrow is the old generation versus the new. So that is going to be a very, we just want to save it.
Time to show my age.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your friends about this show. Also, don't forget to share, like our page Black, our Facebook page. Once again, go like Fade to Black on our Facebook page. Go like, and also click for notifications when we go live. Other than that, for outro, we will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Catch y'all later. Bye. Yeah.
Peace.